Hey, it's another I Am Games podcast.
We did it. We're making these all day, every day, all of the days.
Someone was like, not even 15 videos and they're already resorting to low effort content. And I was just like, yeah, high effort content didn't work.
Yeah, you gotta mix things up. Gotta keep seeing what sticks.
This channel, I would love to put tons of effort into it, but I can't if it's not successful. And it hasn't been successful, so I can't. So this is our next hat trick to try to make that happen. But today we watched the Nintendo Direct, and I think we were more positive about it than I've seen other people be. So
that's because we don't have expectations for these things, because I didn't even know it happened until it was over.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I only found out because our buddy Best Guy Ever was doing a live stream of his reactions to it, and him and Munchie were mostly pretty pessimistic, but they seem to have gone into it just expecting Smash news, and they didn't
The
really
best
get
thing
that.
about it is that there was like only 2 seconds of Smash.
Yeah, you're not the biggest Smash fan.
No, so don't waste my time.
What we did get was some really interesting new intellectual properties, and I'm always more excited for new IPs than I am for anything else. Like, I want to see new ideas, gameplay styles I haven't explored, but, from trusted sources, and we got some of that.
Definitely.
We got a platinum game with Hideki Kamiya supervising.
Fuck yeah.
Director is a guy who worked on Nier Automata. It looks kind of like a little bit of Nier, a little bit of other stuff they've made. And I mean, if there's one thing that I consistently can feel some like unabashed hype about, it's a platinum game. Like,
yeah.
Unless it's like a Ninja Turtles or something, like some kind of tie-in, which, I mean, it's a tie-in game. I have no expectations for that. I understand the one for us, one for them business model. I support that. As long as they keep making one for us, then,
This one looks like it's for us.
Yeah. It's a game that uses some kind of interesting chain mechanic where you seem to control both your player and, like, a second...
Like a stand.
Sort of. Yeah, I thought stand as well.
Yeah, it looks fucking dope as shit. And the visual style is, of course, amazing because it's platinum. Crazy, awesome presentation, really cool designs. Doesn't seem to take itself too seriously. The trailer ends with some dude in a fucking teddy bear outfit throwing trash out because you're a cop and you're trying to, like, do good things. Right. Looks fucking great. Looks fucking amazing.
I mean, just instantly...
Astral Chain even has a cool name.
Yeah, instantly the implications of... Like, what gets me the most excited about a game is when you explain the basic mechanic and I can immediately imagine, like, all kinds of different ways that could be expanded on. So it's just like, oh, you basically have 2 player characters who can combo together that you control both of. Sounds excellent.
Yeah, Platinum's just like, we've done it. We've done every possible combination that the human body can perform in video games. Let's just throw a second body in there. Let's do it.
Like Kamiya already, he had previously leapt straight from 1 to 101.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So now he's like, what if we just go from 1 to 2?
It's like we're on the Switch now. We gotta temper the technical expectations a bit.
Now that you mention it, I am almost certain that the fact that there's 2 Joy-Cons will come into play with, like, probably you control one with the left, one with the right, or something like that. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we're going to get some kind of weird, wacky control scheme that's not going to gel with everybody immediately, but will probably be as thought out as imaginable. Because, like, with Wonderful 101, that was a game that never got as big as other Platinum games, I think, because if you look at it, it looks hard. It looks hard to figure out. It looks complicated, but, like, the game is structured around... just perfectly encapsulating everything you could do with the idea of its mechanic, and anybody who played it and like really explored it seemed to think it was fantastic. This looks a little less extreme, a little more accessible, but still something new and different, and that's enough to get excited about to me.
Yeah, for sure. I just like seeing Kamiya's name pop up. The more he's involved in things, the happier I am.
He's not actually the director; he's a supervisor.
No, he's involved.
Yeah,
and that's fine.
He's supervised a lot of great games.
Yeah, so I'm really excited. It looks cool. It looks like very Tokusatsu-esque in like the cheesiness and like the over-the-topness. It's like if Tokusatsu had a budget.
It's cool that you play as like police officers too. It's a fun gimmick.
It's like a cheesier Psycho-Pass almost, with like the near future and like crazy technology.
Yeah. So
I'm hype. I'm ready.
I'm excited for that game. I'm also excited, and I know we're skipping straight to the end of the direct here, but I'm excited about the Link's Awakening remake.
Yeah, that was out of the nowhere.
So this is one of those things, and look, I am as cynical about remakes as it gets. I generally don't like remakes and remasters of what I consider to be like great classic games. However, I think that in any medium, the time where I get most excited about a remake is when there is something I would obviously change about the original, you know? And like, sometimes you can change too much and go overboard, and we don't know what this game's going to be like yet exactly, but Link's Awakening is a great Zelda game. I played it only a couple years ago on the 3DS. I got the Link's Awakening DX just in the eStore or whatever. Played through it, thoroughly enjoyed it, but the biggest problem with it is that because it had Game Boy Color controls, you can only like have 2 items equipped at a time, and you have to switch items all the time.
Yeah.
So you're constantly opening up your menu to switch items. And
that was the big problem for me playing that and Oracle of Ages and Seasons back in the day.
Exactly.
There's just so much menu dealing. You gotta just constantly fucking...
That was a problem with all the Zeldas up until, you know, a certain point. And like when they introduced touchscreens into Zelda, I felt like, oh, perfect. Like, this is one of the reasons I'm fucking still bitter about the Wii U. Because I feel like I personally have paid for Nintendo's fuck-ups. And that I am because most people didn't buy the Wii U, but everybody bought the Switch. So for most people, it's like, oh, I got to skip out on this errant generation, and I get to play all the cool Wii U games because they're all getting ported to Switch now. Meanwhile, I'm over here, like... I fucking went and bought a Wii U and all the good games for it because I legitimately love the Wii U. I love the idea of the 2 screens because when you play a game like Wind Waker HD, even if the bottom screen is only used for item management, it is so convenient for that. And like even if you're not like constantly using both screens, having another screen is super helpful. And I wish that all the Zeldas had gotten remade on the Wii U, and that I could play all of them with a second screen to select things with. But nonetheless, like, even just having more face buttons on a controller is a huge boon to remaking one of these classic Zeldas. And, like, I think that the art looks good. I like the aesthetic of it. It is appropriate. You know, the original game is a Game Boy game. It doesn't really have much expression in its visual style.
It was an interesting choice, because, like, they didn't... they updated it, but they like kept the aesthetic of the pixel art.
Yeah.
Which was an interesting choice. Like the 3D model of Link looks just like those classic, you know, iconic like 7 pixel sprites. Has like the simple like blocky eyes and things like that. I like that, but at the same time, I also kind of would have been interested in seeing that game in the style of the opening cutscene. And like the one that they reanimated, that's an aesthetic that like we never got in 3D, because by the time we got to Ocarina, they kind of skewed darker and more kind of adult. Mm-hmm. And it would have been cool to see that now that we have like the horsepower to do something in that vein.
I gotta say, I am one of those few people who is in a position to watch that cutscene start up and go, oh shit, Link's Awakening? Like, you know, like I know this cutscene. I know what game this must be.
Right.
But you know, I'm a little worried about like the depth of field cinematography of it, where like things get shallower focus. I don't like that effect generally at all in anything. But like it didn't seem like it was too overbearing. Like it seemed like that only really happens in the fields and stuff.
Sure. And with the isometric camera, I don't think it'll be a huge problem. It's not like you have tons of draw distance to get obscured by it. What
I liked about it though is that it looked a little bit like darker and more rustic in a more traditional Zelda sense. Because like even though I'm a huge fan of like the Minish Cap and the way that had like a very bright poppy aesthetic, which is, you know, whereas Link's what's the third one, A Link to the Past has more of a darker aesthetic. But like when they made A Link Between Worlds, I felt like it was too shiny. It was too polished. It was too like modern looking, and like that was the biggest disconnect I felt. Like even though everything else about the game felt like this throwback to A Link to the Past, just the look of it was a little too shiny, and this one is a little less shiny in a way I wanted it to be, and I'm happy about that.
This is definitely much more of like a one-to-one art style retention, whereas Link Between Worlds definitely pushed to modernize it.
I mean, and there was a lot of room for interpretation, because again, Link's Awakening's graphics were like not like, yes, it's impressive that they even had as much art design as they did, and only Nintendo can pull that kind of shit off to have like that much personality. But like, again, it's a Game Boy game. It's kind of like Pokemon Red. It's like it was pretty easy to reinvigorate this when there was so little there in the beginning. So like, it wasn't the kind of feeling I had when I look at, say, the Majora's Mask remake, and there was that great Narrow video about the problems with that aesthetically and gameplay wise, and how like it doesn't feel the same because Majora's Mask had such a well realized aesthetic that to make major changes to it has a pretty big impact on the feel of the game. In this case, Link's Awakening does not have that. It doesn't have such a rich aesthetic that you would feel like, oh my god, they fucking ruined it. They changed it completely. It's like, no, it's more like they colored in the empty coloring book.
It's like it's like a DXX.
Right.
Essentially. I really like that because, like, I don't know, I'm an old fuck. I'm a doomer. And like I remember back in 2001, 2002, when they dropped Wind Waker, and everyone was like, "Oh, they changed Zelda's aesthetic." Blah.
But okay.
Whatever. It was the trailer came out in like 2002 or whatever shit. It was just a while, but like everybody was so butthurt about like this huge fucking change to Zelda's aesthetic. But now like Nintendo just plays around with the way Zelda looks all the time. Like every game has its own aesthetic, and it's pretty fucking cool. Not many games franchises do that really. Yeah, that's a very Nintendo thing to do.
I definitely appreciate it because the games are their own stories, and I think each one should have an aesthetic that reflects that story.
Imagine that, like changing the aesthetic of your art to suit the fucking thematic elements therein. Wow, video game industry.
That's what we call Gesamtkunstwerk, which every game should be trying to be. Every piece of art should be striving to be complete within itself, to have all of the elements play into each other in a sensible way. It's like automatically better, IMO.
Can you imagine EA doing something like that?
No, of course. Well, they don't develop games, but do they have? Like, does there actually EA develop? Like, surely EA Sports is a developer, right?
I mean, they've bought like all the fucking developers, and then when they don't perform, they kill them.
So, what else is in this direct? Because those two were the two I was like most excited about.
Did we talk about Daemon Ex Machina, the Mech game that has a demo out right now that I want to play?
We will probably play that and then maybe even do another podcast about it if it's interesting enough. But
cool. It looks dope.
It looks like cel-shaded Armored Core.
Yeah, it's like Armored Core that's like got a little bit of Zone of the Enders in there.
I would assume that it is toned down as compared to Armored Core, just going by the aesthetic, and I'm okay with that because Armored Core is like terrifying. Like
it's a lot.
I think I tried to play it once when I was younger, and it was totally overwhelming. I have friends who are into it, and watching them play always felt overwhelming. So like I could deal with something that's like it, but a little less. And I'm sure there will be Armored Core fans who are sad because it probably won't live up to Armored Core in their minds. And if you are a fan of the game, and you wish there was a new Armored Core coming out, I feel for you, but this looks up my alley more as somebody who is afraid of Armored Core.
As someone who's more on the Zone of the Enders side than the Armored Core side.
As somebody who only started actually beating Souls games when I realized that they could be made easy, and I don't know if you can actually make Armored Core easy in those games. Like,
I don't know. I mean, I've never really gone back and played any of them recently.
Like it's funny that the Souls games have such a reputation for being hard because older From Software games are way the fuck harder, way more hardcore.
Yeah, I had Armored Core 1 for PS1, and I don't remember ever getting far into it.
No.
I remember you could like have the beam saber, and that was kind of cool. Then I get frustrated and go play Gundam Battle Assault instead.
Man, I want to try that Gundam Build Fighters game where it's like you customize your own Gundams. Looks kind of cool. That's unrelated to this discussion.
But that's fine. There was like an RPG, I forget what it's called. I think it was like...
That Square game?
Yeah.
That looked pretty cool.
The aesthetic was interesting.
It had a cool aesthetic. It looked like the type of game I would play. So, like, I don't know if it's... I doubt it's a Switch exclusive if it's Square Enix. So I might play it if it comes to... Because I don't have a Switch. I might get one sometime because, like, it's starting to finally look worth it to me. Like, as somebody who already has a Wii U and most of those games, and who has, like, you know, other platforms for multi-plats, and, like, I don't go anywhere. So there's no reason for me to have a portable console. I hate the Joy-Cons as controllers. So, like... I mean, I would just get a Pro controller, but, like, the only way I would buy a Switch is if there was, like, at least 10, like, real games that I really wanted to play for it. We're getting close. It might happen. 10 exclusives, I should say, that I really wanted to play for it. Because, to me, anything less than that is not worth $300, plus the price of games. So, like... So we're getting close, but if that game comes to multiplats, I might play it on PS4 or something. I hope it's not a $60 game, but...
Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting because, like, the last podcast, we were just talking about how, like, Square kind of seems to work better under constraints.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see where this falls in that Bravely Default versus Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts.
Like, the reason, like, I didn't like the aesthetic of Octopath Traveler, so I was not that interested in it in the first place. But the fact that that game was $60 meant I would never, ever consider buying it.
I mean, I would assume this will probably be full price just because it's Square Enix and that's how they roll.
But they do often, their games do drop in price quickly, a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So, you know.
We'll see.
Maybe I'll play it once it gets cheaper, or if it has... I mean, I'm not expecting it to be a game that reviews extremely well, because action RPGs never review extremely well, but, like, I would like to... I just like simple action RPGs. Like, that's my favorite type of game, is as long as it feels good to play. The aesthetic kind of reminded me of... like a 3D version of Hyper Light Drifter, and it wasn't as good looking as Hyper Light Drifter, but it really gave me that vibe. And when I looked at that, I was like, ooh, because I was just like, I just the other day picked up and played a little bit more Hyper Light Drifter. I mean, I've beat it, but I was just like, you know, fucking around in it to kill time, and I was like, man, I could use another game like this that looks kind of like this and feels kind of like this, and if it's anything like that, I will be happy. But I mean, that might be an unreasonable expectation.
Right. Another game that's not exclusive to the Switch, but was interesting that it even ended up there, was Hellblade. Hellblade's coming to the Switch. I'm kind of surprised it even runs on the Switch, because that game was visually pretty impressive.
Which one is Hellblade?
The Ninja Theory one, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice.
The crazy fucking one death game.
Yeah, it's on the Switch, and it looks visually pretty good, and I'm kind of shocked that the Switch can even do that.
I'm curious about it. I mean, we've talked about the possibility of doing like a whole rundown of all Ninja Theory's games on this channel because they're cool, but you know,
I mean, I don't know.
I would put out high effort content on this channel if I could afford to. Yeah.
I don't know if I would play that game on the Switch. I'm assuming it'll probably run worse than the PS4 version.
Right.
And it'll probably be more expensive because every Switch game is more expensive. But I don't know. I hope that's kind of, again, to hit on what we were talking about in the Kingdom Hearts podcast, which hopefully will be out by the time this comes out. We're talking about how
I was thinking about pushing that one back so that we could release this one tomorrow, so it'd be more timely.
When you hear the Kingdom Hearts thing after that I'm referring to, we're talking...
Unless you think I should just put out 2 of these in the same day.
Who the fuck even cares, dude? It's not
we will lose subs if we do that. I just letting you know, but I'm not opposed to it.
Well, my point was that like we were talking about in the Kingdom Hearts one about how there needs to be more like kind of AA style games, like smaller budget games that make a good amount of money.
No, we talked about that in the Apex Legends video.
Oh, then we're good. We're golden. Yeah. I don't even know when the fuck we said words anymore. But that's what Hellblade is. You know, it was like a $30 game at launch.
Right.
They self-pubbed it.
It is exactly the kind of game I think we need more of.
That's what I'm saying. I want it to be in more places so it can be more successful, so more people can be like, hey, this is a model that works.
Right.
Maybe we should try and fucking do that.
The thing is that inherently those kinds of games are going to be niche, and that's why they made it, is because they're like, hey, we made a niche product, we're selling it for cheaper, we kept the development cost at a reasonable level so we could do that, and those people will be satisfied. That's not going to get talked about as much because it's niche. And, like, ultimately, with niche media, the difficulty is always just in, like, how do you even reach the audience who would care when you don't have the marketing push and people aren't going to talk about it? And it's like, so I understand why it's hard to make those kind of games, but if we could create a culture where there were people who were seeking those things out to talk about them, and, you know, that there was, at the very least, like, a culture of exploring niche content, which, I don't know, maybe this channel could be that if we were successful enough to actually put effort into it.
We gotta be the change we want to see.
I guess we do. I guess we gotta go play a bunch of niche games.
I'm not opposed.
Let us know in the comments how if you would push our content if we did that. We need you guys, because we can't do it alone. We don't have any marketing budget for this channel.
No.
Anyway.
Speaking of no marketing budget, Deltarune is getting a Switch port.
Hey.
And I guess that means it's not impossible anymore, and he's gonna keep working on it. Because that was the whole thing when Deltarune was first launched. He's like, I don't know if I can even finish this game, but now it's on the Switch, and like the trailer said at the end, like more to come. The other chapters will be released.
Maybe he got a team.
I hope so, because there's potential there.
More on that if you go watch our other Deltarune content.
Did a stream, did a whole thing on that, did a video.
So, also coming to the Switch, Rune Factory 4 and 5 being made. Have you ever played any Rune?
I don't even know what those are.
Rune Factory is Harvest Moon, but with an action RPG component. So basically, you basically manage all kinds of shit around a town, and then, you know, venture off to go fight when you feel like it to sort of collect resources to bring back. It's very much a grind fest. Like, it's just watching numbers go up. In many ways, it's exactly the same kind of game as like a Farmville, except that it has enough gameplay that it will not disturb you as a gamer. But like, I think I played like 13 hours of Rune Factory 4 on the 3DS, and it's just like at some point you realize I am mindlessly doing the same thing over and over again. And like, there's not enough strength in the narrative to make you care. Like, because, you know, part of it's like you find a waifu, get married, like, you know, Harvest Moon style, but like...
Pure fantasy. That never happened.
Yeah. But at the same, like, that's an element of it, but you don't really care enough about what's going on to really, like, feel that emotional connection. Rune Factory has been, like, much like Harvest Moon, it's kind of a toss-up series where, like, sometimes you get a good one, and then you play... I remember one of my friends got a Rune Factory game on the PS3 that looked and played like ass. So, I don't know, but maybe 5 will be good. Porting 4 to the Switch is because the Switch is a portable console. Because Rune Factory is, like, the ultimate portable type game. It's like the kind of game where you can pick it up, and even if you played it for 2 minutes, you will accomplish something. Like, because you're constantly just you're on a day-night cycle, so like every day it's like you've got maybe 20 minutes in a day, and there's like 80 things you could potentially do. So it's like, even if you turn on the game for 1 minute, you can plant a row of crops and turn it off, and you will have accomplished something, no matter how minor, which is why it is an ideal mobile game in that sense. So I think that's why they brought it.
Cool.
What else was there? Mario Maker 2?
Yeah. Okay.
Makes sense. I mean, I actually never played Mario Maker on the Wii U, so
it's good.
I could see playing it on the Switch. I mean, it seems like one of those things where there's no real reason to play the first one once the second one's out, because it's just an update. It's just got more.
I mean, it's Mario Maker's one of those things where just like they're only releasing another one just to make more money, because like you could just port and update Mario Maker forever.
I mean, if anything, I appreciate that they made a 2 and didn't just port the Wii U version, because like either way you're paying the same price.
Sure.
Like if I'm gonna pay $60 for the game, I want to at least know that it's not the same game. I understand why if you already bought the first game, that might not be your mentality, but like, you know, assuming you bought it and liked it, maybe you'll be happy to see more things added to it. I don't know, but they could have just updated it, sure. But hey, it's a new console, so why not just make it a different game?
Yeah, the only thing that sucks is now you're probably going to have the online pass to, like, actually play levels and shit. Or before you didn't need that.
God, you're right. I didn't even think about that.
So...
What the fuck? How did this console generation get away with this?
It's all Microsoft's fault. They're the one who started it all the way back in 2004.
Yeah, but the last console gen, PS3 didn't have...
Yeah. And then they realized, we can make all this extra money. And what are they going to do about it?
Pisses me off so much. How much does it cost for PS Plus?
$50 a year, I think.
50. What is it monthly?
I don't know. I've never even considered buying it, so...
I've considered it just because there are legitimately lots of deals that like, lots of the time I go to the PlayStation Store and there's games that I would buy at the PlayStation Plus price but would not buy at the retail price. But then I think, well, if I have to pay for PlayStation Plus, it more than makes up the difference unless I buy all of these games that I want.
The kind of, like, good thing about PlayStation Plus is that you get free games every month, but... The reason I don't do that is because you only have access to those games as long as you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber. If you stop paying, you lose access to all those games, whereas on Xbox, you keep them regardless.
Games as service is a blight.
It is, because, like, I can't wait until, 5 years from now when they shut off all the servers and all those things are just gone.
It's
buy games on disc.
The thing is, we talk about this stuff, and like when I watch Jim Sterling and he like complains about all of the companies doing this, I have no ire towards the companies for doing this. I only have ire towards the buyers for letting them get away with it.
It's true.
It's all your fault.
Yeah.
If you are buying games as service, you are the problem. You are allowing it to happen. Vote with your fucking wallet. Vote with your wallet.
Most
Pay for things you care. If most people don't care, then they deserve the punishment. And we are just the unfortunate detritus of society falling off. We're the ones getting stomped underfoot.
And that's why I'm mad about it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not participating. I'm still getting fucked.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking aggravating. But anyway, was there anything else in this Nintendo Direct? It was a Fire Emblem game.
Yeah, that looks cool. I've never played Fire Emblem except for the one that was on Game Boy Advance.
Well, let me tell you, all the Fire Emblem fans seem to be like, oh god, about it. Mostly I think because the 3D models look like ass. I thought they looked like ass.
Looked fine to me.
I just didn't, like, the overall visual aesthetic of the game looked very muddy and just not good. Like, why isn't it colorful?
Colors are bad in war-torn...
All the other games are colorful.
The game was called. I mean, something that I don't even understand why it exists, but I am excited for, is Ultimate Alliance 3.
Oh yeah,
the Marvel game, because I loved Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2 back in the day on
right. So that's like a sequel to like a fucking. Was it on 360? Because I remember Ultimate Alliance being on like the GameCube, wasn't it?
Well, Ultimate Alliance was a kind of successor to X-Men Legends, which was on the GameCube and stuff like that. And then they said, let's just have all the Marvel characters in it. And that was Ultimate Alliance. That was on Xbox and 360. That was like at that time when the generations were kind of coming over. But I don't know, it looks cool. Like, I like the art style of it. It looks very comic booky. The animations look good. You punch things. It's got the Hulk.
I hope it's better than Marvel vs. Capcom most recent, what was it called?
Ultimate or whatever.
Yeah, one of them. Something like that. I think it was.
There's nowhere to go but up from there,
yeah.
So I'm sure we'll be fine. I don't even understand how this game's real. It's like been so long, and like, was anybody asking for another Ultimate Alliance game?
I mean, those were really successful at the time, so it's kind of shocking to me that they didn't make one sooner.
I guess with the Marvel Cinematic Universe being as big as it is, I guess it's surprising it took this long for them to make, hey,
let's just make
Well, I guess
it's
because
successful IP. Why aren't we just doing this all the time?
I guess it's because they made the spiritual successor kind of one for iPhone. And that's been going on forever. And that's probably where they're making all their money.
Yeah, there were
some
people were saying it looks like an iPhone game, but I mean, it was originally
a
real game, guys. But back in my day, you used to have the ultimate lines with the circles around the characters.
Someone in the comments of our last podcast said we were young enough to be Zoomers.
We're not.
It's not true.
We're Doomers.
Yeah.
Guys.
Then they got mad and called us Boomers. I'm like, no.
Get your generation straight.
Yeah.
We're millennials.
Buy the Doomer t-shirt.
Yes. We have a Doomer t-shirt in our store. Millennials are Doomers. We are going to have to explain this meme every time because we're the only people perpetuating it.
That's okay. We're the only ones who are worthy.
Was there anything else in this Nintendo Direct?
I mean, there were a couple other things. Toad Treasure Tracker, I don't care.
That was interesting because it's just an update to the game that I think adds multiplayer or something. Because Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker is a fine game. I beat it in a day. It's alright. I mean, if you wanted 100% it can get... Like, I think people look at it and they just think, oh, looks like a baby game. Looks like there's nothing to it. Because the advertisements don't do a good job of, like, it's a puzzle game. It's like a puzzle game where you control a guy, but like most of what the game is using the touchscreen to move elements of the level around. And so like it's more about the levels are cube shaped, so like you're change the camera around, look at it from different angles and figure out what needs to be moved to cause different things to move into place. So like yeah, it's basically a puzzle game with escalating difficulty as it goes. Never gets so hard that you wouldn't be able to complete it, but there's like collect 3 stars in every stage, and that can get difficult, because sometimes it'll ask difficult challenges of you, like play this stealth puzzle without getting seen at all, and that might be way harder than just completing it. But like, so there is a skill ceiling on it, and I think it's pretty fun, but like, there was no multiplayer or like any ability to control 2 characters or whatever they were saying was this update. So it could potentially lead to like whole new mechanics being unlocked in this game. I'm just interested that they bothered. Like, this game's old now. It was like a launch title for the Wii U, I think, or
I don't know if it was a launch title, but it was
early on.
It was a long time ago. Tetris Battle Royale.
Oh yeah, Tetris 99.
Yeah.
Wait.
Wow.
So what exactly the fuck even?
It's a Tetris game where there's 99 people playing at the same time, and you gotta out Tetris.
I mean, it's just
everybody
Tetris,
else.
Right?
It seems like it.
You just play Tetris.
I think it's just like, have you ever played a columns or anything like any multiplayer Tetris where like or Super Puzzle Fighter, as you do well, it starts raining down shit on the other person? Do you think it's like that? I think that's what it is. But there's 99
players.
Yeah.
Like, how much does it scale the garbage that you deal as it
Or maybe it only goes to certain people? I don't really know.
Did it show any, like, garbage falling in
It did.
Okay. So it probably is that, then.
It just, out of all the things to jump on the Battle Royale bandwagon, are you going to have to jump out of the battle bus and be like, where am I going to drop my map to play Tetris on?
Did you see I saw an image on Twitter of a Grim Reaper, like with Tetris 99 on its face, and like there's 3 open doors with blood coming out, and the first one is DayZ, the second one is PUBG, the third one is Fortnite, and the Grim Reaper's knocking on the 4th door that has Apex on it. It's fucking Tetris coming to reap the rest.
Good.
I mean, I can't see it. The thing is that like Tetris is one of the most successful games of all time. So like the thought that Tetris could like be extremely successful again does make sense to me, but like not. I don't think that this is like a Tetris revival that will make a shitload of money. Like what kind of microtransactions can you force into Tetris 99? Nothing, right? So like,
I hope not.
I would think that this is a game that will succeed because what the hell was the cost of development to make a fucking Tetris game with servers? But like, it's just funny to even think that it would have any like competition for battle royale games. Like it surely is just its own thing that will have it'll have a little following. It maybe be active for 6 months, and then nobody will ever consider it again, unless it's like the most fun way to play Tetris, which I doubt, because like the appeal of Tetris is that you can just play it forever, but this is not that type of game. There's a competition, it ends, it's not the same. I mean, also, like, when a game like Apex Legends comes out, even if you've experienced other similar games and you're pretty good at this type of game, there's still a learning curve. With Tetris, if you start Tetris 99 and you're already a master of Tetris, won't you just instantly be the best and just kill everybody?
I guess so.
Because it's just Tetris.
Right.
The same skill set applies.
I don't expect there to like really mix it up or anything. But
I'll be curious to see how it goes.
Yeah.
All right. Is that it? Anything else?
I think that's all the major shit.
How do you feel about owning a Switch right now?
I've always been fine with it. I mean, it has Bayonetta on it. I can't really complain too much.
Yeah.
This new Mech game looks cool.
It's funny you say it has Bayonetta on it, because you haven't even beat Bayonetta.
No, but I like it.
Why not mention Doom, which is like your favorite?
Because Doom's better on every other console.
Wow, well...
It has Splatoon 2, my favorite multiplayer game ever.
Yeah.
Hawken got pretty close though. I was having a lot of fun with Hawken.
In like the 15 minutes we played of it,
it was super good. It has like a 48 on Metacritic on PS4 because it runs like dog shit.
It does run really badly, but like there was in our comments on the Apex Legends videos, people were like, "Dude, Hawken is fucking cool." And someone was like, "Where are you even playing it? They shut it down." And I'm like, "Nah, dude, it's on PS4." Yeah. I don't know why. I don't know why it would be on there. I guess just because there's not a lot of competition for free games on the PS4.
Yeah, there's like 30 games on there.
Right. So if you only play on PS4, which I'm that type of, like, on PC I don't really play games because A, I don't like using a keyboard and mouse, and B, it's always a pain in the ass to set up a new game on your PC, and I don't really have space because I'm constantly filling my hard drive. Like, I'm always having to move shit around and consolidate data. And also, like, just, like, there's so many options that there's no curation. I don't know what's good. I don't know what free-to-play games have made it past the bar. So on PS4, I can just fire it up, and I'm like, all right, there's like 6 interesting looking free games. I'll just try them all, you know?
Yeah.
And it happens to be cool. So that might be why it survived. There you go, a little Hawken thrown in there. We might do a podcast on that if we play more of it. I don't want to talk about it after playing like 2 maps. Yeah. We already got in trouble with that for Apex.
There's like no players on PS4 either. We're playing with like 80% bots the entire time.
Oh.
There's like 3 actual people.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, why do you think we were doing well?
That makes a lot of sense.
With our starter mech.
Yeah. I want to add in, just since we've been meta throughout this podcast, and this is coming out not too long probably after the Apex one, people were like, why are you talking about this when you only played like 3 matches? And I want to say, it's because, and this is why I titled the video the way I did, Aging Gamers Try to Understand. Like, I want you to understand, we're not reviewing the games. We are just like, hey, I played this and was instantly revulsed. Someone explain it to me. You know, and maybe we say that at the end, but some people seem to they didn't make it that far.
I forgot. I wanted to say it right off the bat, and I totally forgot.
I hadn't even known that you had played Fortnite before.
I played Fortnite and Realm Royale.
I don't even know what that is.
That's like a fantasy version by the guys who did Smite.
Mm. You know, there's also Sea of Thieves, which is where you start off on a boat instead of a plane.
Yeah.
But that boat, I watched somebody streaming that one time, and it seemed like the boat lasts forever. I was watching, the guy was just on the boat sailing to the island for like the 10 minutes that I was watching. I don't know if he just wasn't, I don't know if there's a button you have to press to initiate. I was confused. But anyway, thank you to everybody who did try to explain the appeal of Battle Royale games. They still sound miserable to me, so.
It's too zoomer for me.
People were like, it's all about the big cum when you finally kill somebody. And I'm like, but I feel a big cum every time I kill anything in any game.
Yeah.
If it takes 1 second, I feel great.
Should we touch on Dragon Warrior, since they did Dragon Quest Builders?
That's right. I forgot Dragon Quest Builders 2. So have you ever played Dragon Quest Builders?
I've not.
So, I mean, I think we've talked about Dragon Quest 11 a little bit in some of the early streams. I tried to play it. Didn't like it at all. Didn't like the feel, the look, the mechanics, anything about it. It wasn't my thing. But I did play Dragon Quest Builders pretty extensively. I did some Let's Plays of it on the probably on DigiBros channel, which is now Vic and Hope. If you look up Digi and May do Dragon Quest Builders, you'll find a bunch of me playing it. Dragon Quest Builders is interesting because it's sort of a Minecraft clone, but with like a mission structure. And the idea is that you have to like build these towns and like help people out in order to like eventually defend the town from like some big monster that comes. And like basically you have to build it up to a certain standard before you continue along. The thing about it is that you can't go that far with what you build. Like I spent a lot of time building this town, trying to make it like aesthetically interesting and like, you know, fully fortified, but like there's only like a square of space that is considered to be what is your town, and anything outside of that monsters will spawn in. So there's no point in expanding your town outwards because you can't, there's no like, it's not considered your town and people won't go there. So there's no incentive to build outwards, and you can only build so high up, and like the camera makes it really difficult to put ceilings on rooms. Like if you wanted to build a multi-story house, the camera will have a lot of difficulty getting inside the rooms. So like mostly you just build walls and not even ceilings on your rooms. And then like you only have to build a town up to a certain point when a monster attacks, and then you just enter like a second campaign where you're building another town in like a different area.
Weird. And
the areas are like relatively small, but they each have like different properties. So it's like each area you go to has kind of different rules to shake it up. But like after I had spent like 13 hours on my first town and then just like switched to a second one, I lost all interest. It was just like,
seems
I
like
spent so much time on this town and now I have to go somewhere else. So it's like, I love the aesthetic of the game. I like the mechanics. I just don't like the way that it's structured as a game. And so like, you know, if I had, I would have been excited for Builders 2, but having played Builders 1, I was like, no, skip it, not worth it.
Unless they fix that. Unless you just have one town.
It would have to be pretty different, but I don't think they will, because that's not really the MO of, like, you know, that kind of game. Especially not when it comes out so soon after the first one, because it's only been like 2 years, maybe, if that.
It looks like they added a first-person mode, which probably would make ceilings and shit easier.
That is true. That might... I don't know. I'll have to wait to... It's the kind of thing where I don't know if other people had the same concerns I do. Like, I don't know if I could read a review that would just address my concerns and be like, they fixed it. Because I don't know if people had those issues, you know?
Yeah.
And part of the problem is just that it doesn't explain what it's going to be very well. Like, it doesn't, like, heads up you that this is not your permanent town, or that, like, building outward is pointless. Like, I had to figure those things out and then be disappointed by it, so... No, there's that. I think that's it then, right?
Yeah.
Alright, catch you in the next one, where we'll probably be talking about Kingdom Hearts, because it makes more sense to release this first while the Direct is hot.
Yeah.
And then maybe we'll do another one right after this. Do you want to do another one?
Sure.
We'll do one on Neo, maybe?
It'll be a long one, probably.
Alright, everybody. Let us know, again, what you think of this format. We still are polling. We're still trying to put our feelers out. I know that there are some people who are going to hate this and unsubscribe, but, like, right now it's basically this or nothing, because we really can't spare the time to make I Am Games videos. So
we're not going to stop making those videos, though. That's not the plan. If these will not replace the videos. They just happen to be the only thing that we're making at the moment. Because, like, we get tons of questions all the time. When's the next Tales of? The
next Tales of is whenever I think I can set aside 2 weeks to play through an entire Tales of game, and I also haven't even decided if I still want to do the second game or if I want to skip to Symphonia, because
I think if you're talking about trying to find a way to make IM games become more successful, you should just do Symphonia.
Probably. All right, that's it for this podcast, everybody. See you in the next one. Oh, be the games you want to see.